during a commercial break or something. Welcome to the 2024 Reese's Senior Bowl live stream. I'm Chris Ransom. My co-host from Talk Shoe, Joseph Potter's here. We're going to break down what we see during the Senior Bowl. Coach is making a speech. Terrell Williams, Titans.
Line coach.
Yep. I'm looking at the body language of these players, and the guy who looks the most attentive to Joe Williams is Joe Milton, the American team quarterback from Tennessee. Rattler, I don't think Rattler's dozing off, but I can't tell if he's disinterested or non-committal when it comes to listening in the locker room. But Joe Milton looks like he is locked in and ready to go as far as taking care of business goes, Joey. Milton, just looking at the body language of the players listening to Joe Williams, Milton looks like he's locked in, laser focused. You get that vibe as well? Just curious.
Yeah, and Milton is one of those wild cards.
I've got a 4th round grade on him.
I'm watching on my computer. So, yeah, So I don't know whether I'll be ahead or behind you. The
Kickoff just began. Touchback. Am I ahead or behind you? Because I just saw touchback.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
So we're at.
We got Spencer Rattler, Joe Milton.
Yep.
Guys on the screen.
Yep. Those guys are on the screen as well. So I think we're watching at the same pace. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Rattler is starting. He's back handoff. To start the game.
Javon Foster is in for the offensive line at right tackle. They have Patrick Paul at left tackle. I thought both of those tackles had good weeks in practice. And they have Christian Haynes at right guard. Andrew Rame at set. I think Andrew Rame's the center, but really good. Haynes is the right guard. Ladd McConkey and Cody Schrader were impact players in the SEC. McConkey, I know the stats don't pop out for McConkey, but he dominated against Ole Miss in one of the games I uploaded to Rumble.
Rattler just dumped it off into the flat.
Andrew Rame.
Very nice catch and run.
Yep. So you're now ahead of me because but it's cool. I think it's cool that we provide that input, that commentary. So, the offensive line looks good though. Andrew Christian Hayes is the right guard. The right tackle is Foster, as I said earlier, and Patrick Paul is the left tackle. But who's the left guard? That's really the only thing I don't know as far as. I think it might be Brandon Coleman at TCU. The TCU right guard, Brandon Coleman. I think he's the left guard for the American team, if I had to guess. But
yeah, the only problem I seem to be having is that I don't see. Okay,
so no.
I found it. So I was going to say, I'm looking for a roster with the numbers on it, and I just found it.
Yeah, it should be on the Senior Bowl website. I couldn't tell you definitively who the left guard is. I don't know if it's Brandon Coleman or if it's Dominic Pooty, the Kansas guard. I think it might be Pooty. I don't know for certain, though. I can't see the helmet good enough to get an accurate indication. Amani Bailey. Good info.
He is number 9, and he's had 2 really impressive runs.
Amani Bailey, the running back for TCU, has had it's Blakeman or Buckleman or somebody. Yeah, Buckleman, the left guard.
Cedric Van Pran looks like he's starting at guard, and he just had a very impressive pull.
Yeah, 77 had a really nice pull. Who is that?
That's Van Pran.
Van Pran. I thought Cedric Van Pran opted out of the Senior Bowl. That's not him. Must be another Van Pran.
Yeah, because it says on here that 77 is Van Pran.
Let me look at the Senior Bowl lineups. Because I swear Van Pran is one of the players that opted out of the Senior Bowl. So I'm just sort of confused. I know there's some good receivers, Jamari Thrash, but, they're getting the running backs involved early. And JT Bertrand, 30 quarterback pressures at Notre Dame. So
Brandon Coleman, TCU.
So I was right. Brandon Coleman was the left guard. Okay, so they just threw a completion to Cody Schrader for a first down. Really good play by Rattler there. Really good decision making early in this game. Because all the offenses Rattler played in at South Carolina were pass first. So how could he handle the responsibility of a balanced run first offense? He's doing a really nice job showing NFL scouts he can handle that type of offense. And you have Jaheim Bell of Florida State in at tight end. Him and Sano have been rotating those first team tight end reps. But one thing the American team has is the two best tight ends for this Senior Bowl. Because my tight end 5 and 6, none of my top 4 tight ends were in Mobile. But my tight ends. Yep, and it is
from Spencer Rattler on that was a great play action by Rattler.
Yeah, he sold that.
He got it out there quick and got it into his gut and pulled it out quick. So very nice.
Zero. Who is that?
That was impressive by Rattler. Very impressive first drive.
Yep. And that was Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint with the touchdown. Really good first drive by Rattler. Who gave up the touchdown, though? Who lost the coverage assignment to Raheem Jackson? That's kind of what I'd like to know. I'm looking at the national team lineup right now as we speak.
Well, that's the interesting thing. There really wasn't a blown coverage. It was a really nice catch, good concentration.
Yep.
Jackson just outran him.
Yep.
Got in there, but the cornerback caught up a little too late. Very nice concentration. Got turned around.
I don't think that was Quinion Mitchell. I don't think that was Cam Hart. Because so I just don't know who it was that blew the coverage on that touchdown. I wish I knew. My guess is
I didn't see a number.
It was zero on the national team. Yeah, it was zero who blew the coverage for the national team. Willie Drew, that's Virginia State corner.
Willie Drew, Virginia State.
Yeah, Willie Drew, the Virginia State corner that had 13 deflections in the FCS. I mean, I hadn't heard anything about him in the week, and Willie Drew didn't do a horrible job on the assignment. That was just a really good effort by Georgia's receiver at the end, like you said, Joey. And the national teams trail 7-0. And you can say what you want about Spencer Rattler not being focused during the locker room speech. He had an incredible first drive. And that's the big reason why the American team is ahead. Yeah, so they're showing the commercials for the Super Bowl Media Day. Here's the thing. Everybody who pays to go to the Super Bowl, they're going to have to park in an underground Starbucks. Yeah, they put a 24-hour Starbucks with underground parking right by the gas station I was at for the Shrine Bowl last year. So everybody who goes to the Super Bowl is going to have to go to the underground parking, the Starbucks. It's insane. Yeah, and you could see Cam Hart was lined up in the nickel against Jamari Thrash. But yeah, Willie Drew gave up the touchdown to Rosemy-Jacksaint. But Rosemy-Jacksaint had great separation on that touchdown.
Yeah, and that was just a straight fly route. I mean,
Yep.
not fly route, but
And it looks like
okay.
Bo Nix is in for the
Great
national
downfield.
team. Yep. And play action, nice pass blocking there by the running back. Bo Nix deep. He can't get it to Quintez Walker. Yeah, Walker, the North Carolina receiver we both liked. I'm not sure if this this was a drop. That was an accurate ball. That was, as much as I wanted to question Bo Nix' accuracy, that was an accurate pass. Yeah.
Yeah, why did he try to one-hand that?
That is not on Nix. That's on Walker, because that is about as accurate of a deep ball as I've seen from Nix all year.
Yeah. It just didn't make any sense to me why he would try to make a one-handed catch on that.
And Cedric Johnson, the Ole Miss defensive end, with a tackle for a loss. But who's the running back?
He got in there quick.
Yeah, Devontae Walker dropped that pass, and that's been the theme with Devontae Walker. Colton Edwards told me he was the worst receiver in the Senior Bowl this week. 10 drops in the first 2 days of practice. No drops on day 3, 1 drop in the Senior Bowl game. So that's 11 drops in Senior Bowl week for Walker if you count the 5 drops per day in the first 2 practices and in this game. 3rd and 14, Bo Nix throws it to Theo Johnson, but he is stopped by the guy on the American team. Theo Johnson, Watson, he's a cornerback, Mississippi State cornerback. Watson played nickel corner.
Yeah, he had to throw that behind, but you don't want to put your receivers in that type of
No,
situation.
Nathaniel Watson's a linebacker, but he lined up at nickel corner on that play and made a really big stop. 137 tackles, 13 tackles for a loss. Showed the versatility to play nickel corner as well as linebacker. And Torrey Taylor, my number 1 punter, tees it off. And it's it inside the 20-yard line. But then the ball's like, screw you, Torrey Taylor. I'm not going to the 20-yard line. And it's down at the 22-yard line.
Yeah, that was a pretty nice punt.
There's a reason he's my number 1 punter in the draft. Like, his dad played professional rugby overseas.
Yeah, that was a good punt.
I mean, what defensive adjustments are you looking at from the national team on the second series defensively? Because Spencer Rattler looked money on that first drive. I'm not sure if Rattler's going to play. With
the national team, the one thing I noticed on that first drive was that they were not aggressive. They were playing back zone, and they were getting run on because of it. They were letting that swing pass happen. They've got to tighten that up. They've got to get more aggressive.
Yeah, Cam Hart is great in man and press, not effective in zone. Same could be said with Kyrie Jackson. A lot of the corners on the national team, they thrive in man, they thrive in press. They have a weakness in zone coverage, and it seems like the coordinator for the national team's calling a lot of zone coverage plays. Maybe to challenge them, maybe to test them. Maybe because a lot of teams run zone in the NFL. So, regardless.
At the same time, if we learned anything from watching Joe Woods as a defensive coordinator, you can't put a square peg in a round hole.
Yep.
It won't work.
No.
That's the problem with all Joe Woods' defenses, is that he tries to force everybody into his little zone defense. And if they're man coverage corners and they're good at it, dating back from the first time you get a defense coordinator position, they will fail. So don't try to
in 2022, Gus Bradley played a lot of zone coverage, a lot of cover 3 looks. he went back to his roots and focused more on cover 0 and cover 1 this year. The Colts still called some cover 2 and cover 3, but because Gus Bradley went back to his roots, it was a lot harder to throw on the Colts. And the Colts didn't have their top 2 corners for most of the year after Dallas Flowers suffered a season-ending injury. And they still won 9 games as a result, despite missing the playoffs. So here we have Goldie, the Golden Gopher, and Albert the Gator taking photos with fans. And Spencer Rattler 3 for 3 with 54 yards, 1 passing touchdown. No incompletions or interceptions yet, as he was money on the first drive. Cody Schrader takes it for a gain of 1. I think that was Brandon Fisk, your guy, who made the tackle. I'm not sure if it's a tackle for no gain or a tackle for a loss, or if it's a tackle after a 1-yard gain. But Brandon Fisk did make the tackle. Second and 11, so it's a tackle for a loss for Fisk. Nice play by him.
Yeah, and Fisk was right there. And I just noticed that first time and noticed that tattoo on his right arm. That's another thing you want to go up against as an offensive player.
But Christian Haynes did held his own against Fisk on that play. Christian Haynes, he got it. He basically told the LSU defensive tackle Jordan Javis to go to church after he ripped Hayes' helmet off. But there is a penalty.
Once again,
Patrick Paul,
they were running back in that zone, and what do? They just dropped it all and done.
And Patrick Paul, the Houston Cougars left tackle, with an ineligible man downfield penalty. So the left tackle for the American team, ineligible man downfield. And yes, 2nd and 16 now.
Senior Bowl website is being a pain in the butt.
Yeah, you're not lying, Joey, about the Senior Bowl website, because it said reload on Google Chrome on my computer, which I'm live streaming on. So you're not wrong about that.
Yeah, it keeps telling me the connection comes out.
Yeah.
Being a pain in the butt.
Well, Arthur Smith got hired as the Steelers offensive coordinator. Dan Quinn got hired as the you know what? Let's save this for halftime. That's probably a better conversation, the coaching. That's something we can squeeze in during halftime or quarter breaks. Cody Schrader. Rattler throws a completion to Cody Schrader on 2nd 16. Good run after catch ability by Cody Schrader on that play. And Andrew Rame, the Oklahoma center, has had a nice day.
Yeah, and these running backs are really impressing me right now.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I was pretty high on Schrader coming out, but he was stifled a little bit. You know, in college, they had a pretty full backfield.
Missouri had really good running backs the last few years. Running back, one of these positions Missouri's reloaded at. Cam Hart made the tackle for a loss, but it also looks like he got dinged up on that play, and that's not good news, because I think I gave Cam Hart an A+ grade for man coverage. So if he's out, it's going to be easier to pick apart this defense in man coverage. But yeah, good adjustments by the national team defense. I do think they'd play man at some point. Yeah. They played, Notre Dame's coaching staff played man coverage against Ohio State. He dominated against both Egbuka and Marvin Harrison Jr. in that game. Marvin Harrison Jr., that was one of his only games where he had under 50 receiving yards and no touchdowns. So that says more about Notre Dame than it does about, because Marvin Harrison Jr. got 100 yards on Michigan and Penn State. But yeah, the San Diego State punter, my punter too, has a nice punt. So both of my top 2 punters are in this game. And both punters have been off to impressive starts. Luke McCaffrey playing special teams. There was a really good, if you're looking for a special teams punt returner, you might want to take a look at Anthony Gold out of Oregon State. He had a punt return for a touchdown in the Shrine Bowl. Anthony Gold might be the best return specialist in the draft. I don't do return specialist rankings, but yeah, Terrell Owens was in Mobile this week. You're seeing Pelissero interview him.
So he's still there?
Yeah, I'm still here, Joey. But Pelissero's interviewing Terrell Owens.
No, Terrell Owens is still there.
Yeah. They've skipped a play to interview Terrell Owens. Yeah, he's in great shape. I appreciate the follow, Terrell Owens. Yeah, he follows our Twitter handle. I appreciate that. Bo Nix, 2nd and 2. NFL Network adjusted their camera, so now you can only see the TO interview in smaller resolution. Kildor Vidal, the Troy Trojans running back. That was a nice run by Vidal. And Vidal, Joey, he in the game I uploaded to Rumble in the Sun Belt Championship, he had 5 rushing touchdowns in the Sun Belt Championship against Appalachian State.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, no offense to him, but I could have run through that game. That was a great job by the interior offensive line to create that hole. That was, you could drive a truck through that team. That was a very nice hole.
Yep. I'm just looking at the lineman Bo Nix has. I think Illinois lineman. Let's look at. Yeah, I'm just curious.
Now, that was something that Bo
Isaiah
Nix
Adams.
that I really liked.
Yeah. Isaiah Adams is one of the starters.
He gave that pump to try to get the defensive lineman off his feet. The defensive lineman didn't bite, but he was still able to get it out there on the second one. So I really like that. That's a veteran move. That's something that we saw Joe Flacco do a lot.
Marshall left tackle.
Came in there to get that lineman off his feet.
So Ethan Driscoll's the left tackle. The Marshall left tackle. Isaiah Adams is the left guard. Tanner Bortolini, the Wisconsin center, is the center for the national team. I'm just trying to get the full offensive line, but Bortolini and Vildor made big runs like that at Troy, but I like the players on Troy's offensive line. They had Jake Andrews, I think, drafted by the Patriots last year. Bo Nix, I think.
I think Davis looks pretty good so far, too. The running back from South Dakota State.
You mean Kentucky, Ray Davis?
No, the Jackrabbit.
There's nobody on South Dakota State in the Senior Bowl. There should have.
Yeah, it's right here. I'm looking at the roster page.
Maybe. Oh, Isaiah Davis. You're right. Isaiah Davis. You're right. Isaiah Davis, running back, South Dakota State. They've had a few good ones. And, yep, Kendall Vildor is tackled. Simpson, the Auburn safety.
Because he's little, but he's catching the ball well. So, he might be in the mix to be
Dominic Pooney, the Kansas Jayhawks left tackle, playing center now in relief of Tanner Bortolini. So,
that was a nice field block by trying to look, see where this guy
it's
was.
weird. I have not seen Fuaga or Jackson Powers Johnson. Maybe those guys know they're going to be first-round picks, so they don't practice Thursday and they decide not to play in the game, which forces the other teams to adjust.
Well, not only that, but the Senior Bowl, the game is really a second-tier thing just for the ratings, the audience, or whatever. But the practice is really what matters.
Yeah.
If they practiced all week and they know they're going to be a high draft pick, their work's done. But guys like Ethan Driscoll from Marshall here, who had that really nice field block on the last play, to him, this is really important that he plays well against these guys.
Yep.
So, you know, when he does stuff like that, you're going to get offensive line coaches like a team that needs an offensive line, like the Titans, who now have a family of offensive coaches that are, you know, like the Callahans that are running that team. I mean, he can impress them with his footwork and ability to get those field blocks.
Yep.
That's really important for him. So, and yes, Bill Callahan did leave the Browns. The Browns did let him go so he could coach with his son. So the Callahans are both in Tennessee now.
Yep. Yeah, so I'm back on the live stream. I was just checking some Senior Bowl stuff. I noticed that my light was on minimum, so I've turned that on as well. iPad is this is probably a good time to charge it during commercials. Probably the best time to charge it is during the commercials, and then you can unplug it when the game is back on. So you'll still be able to hear Joey and myself, but you know, during the commercials, during halftime, that's probably the best time to charge it. Because if it's I didn't realize it was that low, because it was at 98% when I started the podcast. I didn't realize it went all the way down to 39%, and we're still in the first quarter. So, yeah, that is problematic. So, I'm going to have to charge it on the commercials.
That's one of the reasons I'm not watching the game. Usually, if we're doing this, a lot of times I'd be watching the game while I'm on the move. But one of the reasons I'm not watching the game on the move is because the NFL, I'm watching on NFL Network. NFL Network app will drain your battery like nobody's business.
Yeah.
So it's like I can do a split screen here on my desktop as I'm only doing the one team here because, let's face it, it'll take me another 30 minutes to load the other roster.
Yeah. I can just rotate between the rosters because I clicked on the American and national rosters, and I can click back at any point. Bo Nix drops back. Bo Nix, accurate pass. He finds Brevin Spain-Ford open for the touchdown. As Brevin Spain-Ford, he's getting some love from the Goldie, the Minnesota mascot. Goldie, he's like, way to go, dude. As Brevin Spain-Ford catches a touchdown, just a great catch. But there's some people thinking, oh, the ball hit the ground. I don't. Yeah, Brevin Spain-Ford. He caught the touchdown.
And that was, and you gotta love the pass because that showed a wealth of experience on that pass because that's a veteran pass.
Indeed.
Knowing that you had to throw that ball in a certain position to have any chance, and to do it with accuracy, and to make it low and away like that, where only your guy could catch it. I mean, that's a veteran pass.
It is.
Pass, and it was a great job of awareness by Spain-Ford to see what was happening and get back and make that catch as it was happening. So that was great awareness.
And it looks like the American team is going to pivot from Spencer Rattler to Joe Milton. They do have 4 quarterbacks.
Milton is probably the quarterback I'm most excited about seeing because he's the one that I have heard so much about that have seen so little substance. But everybody always tells me he's the
Anus Smith is in on this play as well. Anus Smith of Texas A&M also making his debut here.
Yeah. So only 2,800 yards.
Yeah, but he does have the arm. I think Foster's still at right tackle.
That's not going to help his case at all.
Yeah, and that was that was the Washington guy. I think Marshall Nealon, Western Michigan, and the Washington edge rusher gang sacked Milton.
Here's something. They're going with the hurry-up offense, which is
And they're handed off.
Several teams.
Who's that Washington guy?
Run it more. I thought the Ravens should run it more. I thought the Browns should have run it more. I thought a lot of teams, the Dolphins should have run it more. Several teams, when they did that offense, he shows they which he's doing right now.
Yep.
With a from before, now there's and everything as well. This could help his cause.
Yeah, agree. Oh, Ulo Fushio is the Washington linebacker, according to the senior web.
Nice catch there.
Nice catch by the TCU running back, Bailey. So, yeah, I mean, Devon Foster with a nice block there as well. And good job making Kalen King miss. Bo Limmer is now in the game for Andrew Rames. So there have been a few substitutions on the offensive line. Not a lot, though. Ladarius Robinson, the Texas A&M Texas A&M guard, is now in the game.
And here's something that I'm going to look at with this, in this quarterback situation with Milton. I'm going to look at how calm he is under pressure because, like you said, he doesn't have the arm strength. That means he's going to have to be incredibly
Delmar Glaze is in at left tackle. Charles Turner II is in at left guard. Javon Foster, really the only guy still in the game from the first team, as Rattler's offensive line was a lot better, but Milton has basically a second-team offensive line. Some of the first two weapons, like Sano's still in the game, the running backs.
Fine, because that's going to show the things that you need to see from Milton. You have to see that calm from Milton. You've got to see how he moves around in the pocket.
Yep.
Not the strongest arm. That means he's going to make the good decisions.
So the American team is called.
And that's something they're doing right now.
The American team is calling their second timeout. Okay, I thought they were going to go to a commercial. It looks like they're not going to go to a commercial. But as soon as they're back, because they probably realize if they go to a commercial now and then a commercial at the end of the first quarter, they'll piss off their fans. So let's just see how this goes. Okay, it's 3rd and inches. They're back.
Okay, Milton stays on his feet, keeping his eyes downfield.
Really nice job. Evades a sack. And yeah, you're right. That was a duck.
He did a great job, but his execution sucked because the receiver was wide open and he threw it like a foot in front of him. It didn't look like Joe Milton was throwing a football. It looked like Joe Milton was throwing a wet fish into the pond.
And I hate using that analogy, but that's essentially what Milton threw on 3rd down there, a wet fish into the pond.
And what happened was when he was tripping and going through there, he was giving directions, he did everything right, but he didn't get his feet set again. If you watch, his feet were close together. When his feet were close together, he just threw it straight into nothingness, right into the green. Yeah, he did not get his feet reset. And that's something that if he was drafted by, say the Patriots decide to go with the wide receiver, Harrison Jr., and they decide to do a quarterback later, that's something Van Pelt is exceedingly excellent at, is fixing footwork. So, that's something that would be able to be worked with in there. Or the Patriots may just end up drafting 2 out of 3 quarterbacks because, let's face it, their current crop is not that great. The quarterback.
I think it's hilarious how some of these pundits are, because Armando Salguero from the 5 spot with Donovan McNabb suggested they could keep Mac Jones as the backup to the rookie. That is Sam Hartman. What? And that's another drop by Walker. So that's a dozen drops by Walker this week.
Yeah, that was a great throw
by Sam Hartman.
I will give credit on the
5 is
coverage on that one. That was really good coverage.
5 for the American team with really good coverage there. I'll read. Yeah, I can just scroll back and forth and find out who that was. I think that was Elijah Jones, the Boston College corner, who broke that up. Let's find out where we had Elijah Jones ranked. Might have to move him up. I might have him ranked too low. I have Elijah Jones graded as a 6th round corner. I mean, Elijah Jones is my only corner with a 6th round grade. I was going to put Newsome in round 5, but I think I'm going to move Mitchell into round 5 and keep Newsome in round 6. Keep Newsome in round.
Now, what I will say about that coverage, he's got to get his head turned around because at the professional level, that's the first thing the refs are going to look at. He put one hand on Walker, which would normally not really bat an eye, but he didn't turn his head. If he would have turned his head, it would have been fine.
Sam Hartman.
But this would have been seen by the professional officials as a pass interference because he did not get his head around.
Yep, Sam Hartman threw another incompletion. It looks like, is that Pritchett or is that James Prickett? Looks like Nehemiah Pritchett, Auburn's #1 corner, a player I've been it's been on my radar for like 3 years now. Senior redshirt, he was draft eligible 2 years ago in 2022, and now he's in the Senior Bowl. Laumia's at Florida got left tackles playing center. The Utah left tackles playing right guard. Hartman here on 3rd and 10, going deep. And that is deflected by 2 of Georgia. I think that's Bullard. No, it's Tyke Smith. Tyke Smith, the safety, free safety for Georgia, Tyke Smith. Really good job deflecting that on 3rd down.
Tyke Smith, as you know, somebody I've been singing the praises of for a couple of years now. I think he's going to be a really good safety.
Yeah. I had Tyke Smith in round 4, but I had a lot of these guys like Jaden Hicks, Bo Braid, Kalen Bullock in round 4 as well. I think Smith provides better value than those guys, but those guys are considered higher draft prospects in consensus mock drafts. But
now, on the same token, Smith made a critical error on, I haven't seen the replay yet, but he made a critical error on that touchdown. Coach Tyvis, former Ohio State national champion, one thing he stresses for safeties, because he was a defensive back. Keep your heels on the goal line. Nothing gets past you when that ball is snapped. If you get back too far, you've literally given up a touchdown.
That's weird.
Game's over right there.
I've got the iPad plugged into the charger, and the battery fell from 37 to 36%. I have it charged. I have the iPad charging, and instead of the battery going up, it went down despite the charger. So that's...
You might be running too many power draining apps on it. I know that's happened to me before.
All right, I'll X out some of the...
I was Powell, former national champion, former New England Patriot, played for several teams. He would break things down like that. He said, always for safety, make sure your heels are on that line. Never on the line. Never behind, never in front of. Keep your heels on that line, pre-snap.
Yeah.
Do not go over.
Yeah, I'm Xing out some stuff now, Joey, so that I'm Xing some stuff out, hoping that can fix the Yeah, because I got a lot open, but at the same time, I'm trying to X out some, trying to X out a few of these apps so that.
Here's something interesting that I'm seeing for the national and American teams. Well, I finally got both rosters loaded. It only took me a quarter and a half. But on the national team, there's a lot of diversity. On the national team, 2 Georgia players, 3 Auburn players, 2 Alabama players, a Texas player, a Texas Tech player. There's another Georgia player, so 3 Georgia players, 2 Oklahoma players, so another Texas player, another Alabama player. So they really loaded up the Senior Bowl on the American team with guys that know each other and play well together.
Yep.
So obviously that's an interesting dividend so far, but it isn't.
Yep.
It's interesting to see how they did that.
Agreed. So.
It'd be interesting. Get my headset real quick.
All right, it's 7-7 in the second quarter. I have X'd out some stuff. I've X'd out like at least 10 pages. 10
So Nix is talking to the media.
Yep, Bo Nix is talking to the media. Yep.
Then Crash with Jamari Crash.
Yep, Jamari.
A good catch.
Yeah, so we're still on TalkShoe, we're still on Restream, folks, but I am charging the iPad at least. I'll take it out for the second half because it's at 36% and it's only the second quarter. I want to try to get it up to 40% for the second half. And then from now until that's the thing. It's like if it's under 30% before halftime, what a throw by Milton to Johnny Wilson there in double coverage.
I really like that. It was a quick read, and he made a great pass in front of coverage. Trader with another really good run.
I've got an idea that might be a quick fix. I'm going to take the iPad and put it near the charger because there's a charger that might be closer to the computer. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. You'll still be able to hear Joey in the background. I'm going to pull. There we go. That works. You can still hear Joey commentating on the Senior Bowl, but the iPad's charging at the same time. And since the iPad's close to the computer I'm using for the live stream, you'll probably be able to hear Joey better. There we go. 2nd and 5, Joe Milton. What a throw by Milton.
That was a good short area, a lot of short area dip on that pass. And I don't think he has the big arm of his predecessor. He is showing that quick, short area fastball, the arm strength to go 8 to 10 yards strong. And
Yep.
he's shown a lot of nice touch on it, if not
Yep.
consistent touch.
Touch is the big thing I wanted to see for Milton. And it looks like Cedric Gray and Idea Isaac gang tackled Cody Schrader there, but it didn't matter. Schrader moved the chains for a first down to keep this drive alive. So,
And Schrader is on a game so far. I don't think he's had anything for a loss, and he shows us a surprising amount of power and some really nice hands, especially in the passing game.
yep.
So you wouldn't think he would be somebody who could run between the tackles, but he's doing a really nice job of that as well.
Cliff Kingsbury is withdrawn from consideration as the Raiders' offensive coordinator. I thought he was going to get hired yesterday, but Peter Schreggers just reported that.
An interception by
Williams of Williams picked off Milton. I think he's on Baylor, but I don't know for certain. I'm going to check the national team roster right now, find out who made that pick. Evan Williams of Oregon, I think, because there's a Williams defensive back on the national team, and it's Evan Williams, the safety for the Oregon Ducks. So, Cliff King.
Evan Williams.
Yep.
Evan Williams, Oregon. Something I noticed on that play that I want to acknowledge, he did a good job. Milton did a good job of recognizing the pressure, seeing the gap, and rolling out in the pocket, or stepping up in the pocket and rolling out. He did a really nice job of that. But what he didn't do, he had 5 to 10 yards of open field. He was going to run. You could tell he was over the line of scrimmage, but at the last second, he decided to throw his own cover. That's an experience. That's somebody trying to make something out of nothing.
Yep.
That is a guy with a single year starting experience who is trying to impress somebody who's making mistakes. Now, that in itself, that tension, that's something he's going to have to do away with. Now, we're going to see whether we talked about his weaknesses and we talked about his strengths. Now, we're going to have to come across him. Now we're going to get to see how he does when he comes back out. Does he have that short memory you need to have to be an NFL quarterback? Because he's going to have to forget that interception happened. And he's going to have to be more decisive with his decisions when he's in that situation. Because he was over the line. That was going to be a penalty. If that was an interception, it was going to be a penalty. So he's going to have to make better decisions on that and say, okay, I've got this open state, I'm going to run, or I'm going to throw that thing earlier so it doesn't get intercepted.
Yeah. Here's an interesting tweet. Interesting tweet from interesting tweet from Puck Report NHL. Only 5 NHL head coaches remain in the same position they were at in 2019 following firings of Berube, Smith, McClellan, John Cooper, the Lightning head coach, Mike Sullivan, the Penguins head coach, Jared Bednar, the Avalanche head coach, Rod Brindamore, the Hurricanes head coach, and Sheldon Keefe, who entered this offseason on the hot seat, the Toronto Maple Leafs head coach. Those are the only 5 NHL coaches to be with the same team since 2019, which shows you how much turnover there is in hockey. But let's get back to football.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to give a lot of credit to Evan Williams on that interception. Because they just showed a replay of where he came from. He came from the other side of the field. And while it was an indecisive move on the quarterback position.
Was that the South Dakota State running back that you told me about? Isaiah Davis. He got a carry.
Yeah, he covered about 2 yards on the throw and intercepted it. That is a rangy safety.
Yep.
And Evan Williams. And that in itself could move him up around.
Yeah,
to see somebody with that range.
Rosengarten is in at right tackle, who had a good Senior Bowl week.
Oh, shit. That almost was not a good Senior Bowl situation.
And that's Jackson Sermon, the Cal linebacker. Jackson Sermon's had 2 interceptions this week. He had interception on Tuesday, interception on Thursday. Jackson Sermon, a tackling machine, known for his tackling at California as a middle linebacker. But, you know, his coverage has been the story in Mobile. That's the thing. It's like he's known for his tackling, but
he's getting his hands in the passing lane, and that is something that coaches and defense coordinators will gravitate for.
And Sermon did a good job dropping his hips back into coverage, but as soon as Hartman scrambles, he anticipates that, spies on him, and tackles him. Just a really good series by Jackson.
Open field tackle was something that the NFL this year was lacking.
Yeah.
The defenses were much better this year, but at the same time, the open field tackling was not great. That was a great open field tackle by Sermon.
Yep.
So, you know, to force the punt, you gotta. So Sermon made that series happen for.
Yeah, he did.
The national.
Or the American team.
The American team. So.
Yeah, but I don't see his name on the American team. I think he was a last-minute ad. But Jackson Sermon, he was the headline player. When we did the Pac-12 previews, he was the headline player on Cal that I told you guys to keep an eye on. I'm not sure if he'll get drafted, but I think he deserves to get drafted. Anis Smith with a punt return. Yeah. Albert. Yeah, Albert the Gator. He goes from taking a selfie with Goldie to taking a selfie with the Senior Bowl mascot, the Peanut Butter Cup. But yeah, Leslie Frazier is going to be the assistant head coach. So if the Mike McDonald hiring is an absolute disaster and they fire him like they fire him year one like the Panthers did with Frank Reich, Leslie Frazier would be the interim head coach. So that's interesting.
What's interesting is I think there's threaded the wire for my headphones.
How is this at 35%? I've got it charged. I've got the iPad charged. It should not be at I'll look at some more apps to X out during the commercials.
I blame Apple, but then too, I don't like Apple products, so maybe that's me.
I love Apple products. I'm a shareholder for Apple on that reason alone. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, we've got 8. I had like 81 pages open. I've narrowed that down to 8. So
you had how many?
I had like 50 to 81 browsers open on the iPad. I got that down to 8.
Yeah.
Okay, 1, 2. Yeah, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So ScoreStream, A2 hosting if I want to type code on the iPad. Airbnb if I want to book something. Mastermind, I'm not even sure what the hell that is. The stock trading website I use, Udemy, and TalkShoe. So that's like 7 now, but hopefully that does the trick.
Yeah, it's like that's more than I have open when I'm working on my books. God. Which is basically what I was doing while you were going through the NHL mock draft. I was listening, but I got a new computer, another new computer.
Yeah, I've got the same computer since 2009. which I write code on, but I also got the new computer my brother gave me for the live stream, which is pretty amazing as well.
Yeah. My situation was kind of interesting because the Kindle Create, which is used to format books for you, so you can publish them to Kindle. I love my Chromebook, but the app is not supported on Chrome. It has to be an Apple or Windows to do it, so I had to...
I believe Michael Pratt is now in the game for the American team. Because Joe Milton's not in the game. I think they put Michael Pratt. They put Pratt in because they played Joe Milton 2 series. Now they're playing Michael Pratt. It's midway through the second quarter. So Mike
basically just playing everybody 2 series.
Pretty much. Because the South team has 4 quarterbacks. The American team has 4 quarterbacks. The national team has 3. And the one quarterback the national team hasn't played is Michael Penix Jr. So I'm wondering if Penix knows he's going to go in the first round. But I don't think Penix would opt out of the Senior Bowl.
Not out of the game, I wouldn't think so. Especially with the week he had, which probably dropped his stock. You would think he would need this game to show that he's still the guy on game day that he was throughout the season.
Yeah.
So you would think that he would want to play in this.
Are they attempting a field goal? They're attempting a field goal from this distance. Will Reichard. I'm just like...
Oh, no, I'm seeing interviews.
Reichard.
Oh. Yeah.
It's up post. Had the distance, but the kick was no good. Yeah, Reichard is my number 3 kicker. I have Harrison Mevis, who was in the Shrine game at 2, and my number 1 kicker is Joshua Carty of Stanford, who's on the opposite team.
You know what the impressive thing about that was? The impressive thing about that was I wasn't concerned whether he made it or missed it as much when it comes to that distance. How legs he had behind it. And he kicked that thing about 70 yards.
Yeah.
So that was a great indicator on his leg strength. Now, if they do another one, I would expect it to win, and I would expect it to be from living closer. Because, anybody can have a huge leg, but if you can't do anything with it and get it between those goalposts,
agreed.
Then your huge leg don't mean much.
Agreed. I mean, this has been an interesting Senior Bowl. Jeremiah has Bo Nix to the Saints at 14 in his mock draft. I think that's an interesting pick. I don't think Bo Nix would go that high. And the Saints can't cut Derek Carr until 2025 to save cap space, even though it's a team-friendly contract. So, you're essentially, if you put it in that situation, Bo Nix is essentially redshirting and then coming in 2025 to take over for Carr.
I think if you want to redshirt Bo Nix, you can get him in round 2.
Yeah.
Redshirting him wouldn't be a bad idea, but
the execution should be day 2, not day 1. If you're going to redshirt a quarterback, you should do it in day 2, not day 1. Because in this situation, because if you take Bo Nix at 14 and Derek Carr does horrible, you have to start Bo Nix and roll with him the rest of the way. Because that's what the Steelers did. They got Pickett at 20. Trubisky was horrible the first 3 games. He gets benched.
Yeah, the last time I was in favor of a redshirt was Carson Palmer with the Bengals, and that was over 20 years ago.
And then they had Mahomes redshirted too. Mahomes also redshirted. We'll have Super Bowl coverage next week. We'll have a Super Bowl show next week.
That
but, yeah.
was more because Alex Smith was really good at the time. I think he was like runner-up for the MVP guys the year before or something like that.
Yeah.
Alex Smith was on was at his peak. So, I mean,
Sam Hartman.
I didn't really consider a red shirt as much.
Well, it is technically a red shirt. That's the thing.
Technically, yes, but the reason it wasn't just to get Mahomes ready. It was because you had this guy that was playing at a really high level.
And then you had a quarterback who was playing in a system, air raid system at Texas Tech. Scouts weren't sure he'd translate to the league. I thought he would translate quite well. Me and Thomas Coburn did our homework on Mahomes. And I found out he was taking snaps under center in practice, but not during the game. So you can't really blame teams for not looking at the practice film and the film. That's the lesson here. You got to look at the practices as well as the tape. So I'm just trying to.
Okay, Michael Penix is not playing. It goes back to it just makes sense. I was just looking at the roster. Bo Nix was doing it. They were doing it as Bo Nix, and they said Hartman was going for the rest of the game, which kind of confused me. And then we were talking about that with Penix, and then I looked and it says, and it shows that there are only 3 quarterbacks on that roster, and that means Penix is not playing.
Yep.
If Hartman is going for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out got meeting details. I'm going to reload TalkShoe, Joey. Only reason to reload TalkShoe is because I want to be able to record this. All right, so.
Beat with a really nice job, came back to his first read, had a really nice pass on an open receiver, and that was a great job. Kept his feet moving, eyes downfield.
Yep.
Great job on that pass. I believe it was
So Penix not playing in this game, but I don't think that'll affect his stock. I still think he'll go in the first round. I think the only way he'd slip to round 2 is if the medicals, because remember, Penix had, before he was at Washington, Penix had 2 ACL surgeries on both his left knee and right knee. So, the medicals, that's why people are buyer beware with Penix right now. I think he'll be fine. He's been healthy at Washington. That's the bottom line. Why are people mocking quarterbacks to the Rams at 19? I think Jeremiah and Eric Edholm have McCarthy to the Rams at 19. Bucky Brooks has Bo Nix to the Rams at 19. Stafford played out of his mind. I don't think the Rams are drafting a quarterback at 19. Stafford still has 3 or 4 good years left.
I'm not sure about 3 or 4, but
he has 2 minimum.
If he can stay healthy.
2 minimum.
If he can stay healthy.
If he can stay healthy, like he did this year, he's got 2 more years minimum. I think maximum we're looking at 3 or 4 years, with the decline after the 3rd year.
Yeah. Barner from Michigan with a really nice catch.
Yeah, he was the backup tight end to Colson Loveland at Michigan. Sam Hartman. Sam Hartman scrambles and gets the first down. Braswell tries to tackle him.
That was an amazing play fake.
Yep.
An amazing play fake there.
Winsel's Oyster House. I've been there. When I went to Mobile in 2020 and 2021, I went to Winsel's Oyster House twice. Winsel's has incredible oysters. But yeah, they showed their Winsel's Oyster House on NFL Network. So yeah, if you ever...
Considering that obviously it's a calling card, I would hope that they haven't made oysters or else they got nothing else.
I mean, Wenzel's Oyster House has great oysters. Yeah, kid wanted Drew Rosenhaus to give him an autograph at Wenzel's Oyster House, and Rosenhaus basically told, and the kid was like 5, 6 years old, about as old as Drew Rosenhaus's daughters. So this kid that's like 5 or 6 year old boy wanted Rosenhaus's autograph, and Rosenhaus basically told the kid to fuck off at Wenzel's.
Yeah, that's a dick move.
Well, he's on the phone with the client in his defense. I'm not saying it was a dick move, but in Rosenhaus's defense, he was on the phone with the client.
And how much better will that make him look if they shook it?
Like Leigh Steinberg would have handled that completely differently. He would have been like, look, I'm busy with the client, but if you go away, maybe I'll have Patrick Mahomes mail you an autographed football or something. He would have been more diplomatic about that.
You know how to really do something like that in your favor? If you sign a piece of paper and say, hey, kid, would you like to say hi to Patrick Mahomes? Oh, you can use that in your favor in a lot of ways. So, yeah, the fact that somebody that smart did something so stupid is interesting to me.
Yeah, Rosenhaus at Wenzel's Oyster House. One of the interactions I observed at Wenzel's Oyster House back in 2020. Yeah. So, and next year, I might do Mobile and the Super Bowl because the Super Bowl's in New Orleans next year, and Mobile, Alabama to New Orleans is a 45-minute drive. So if somebody's willing to give me a ride into New Orleans, I'm willing to go to Super Bowl Media Day on Monday because it's right there for the taking. I could just do a flight to Mobile. If somebody's willing to give me a ride to New Orleans, I'm open to doing Super Bowl Media Day in New Orleans next year.
The city of sin in the United States just gets one more reason to have more sin in it. Like, geez. Yeah, Barner was overthrown by Hartman, which I think this was a great move by Barner. He got past his defender. He was open. He was there. He had a.
So Penix has his uniform on, but he also has a hoodie on under his uniform. So, look, some quarterbacks have opted out of the Senior Bowl altogether. I'll give Penix for at least dressing up because I think Zay Flowers was on the sideline last year, but he was in like a hoodie or something at the Shrine Bowl. Penix at least put the Senior Bowl jersey on, so he went a step further than Zay Flowers did. So I'll give him credit for that, even though he's not playing. I don't agree with the decision, but at the same time, it's like
Luke McCaffrey, I believe that's Christian McCaffrey's younger brother, with a right end around. He got a few yards out of that. Shows the McCaffrey speed, which is lacking. I guess that's a family trait.
And the Georgia State left tackle is in at right tackle. Luke McCaffrey, who's covering him here? They're running it. No, they're fake the run, and Jaquan, the two. I think that's DJ James with the coverage, but that's Devontae Walker. That's his third drop of the game. It's almost like he's trying to match the number of drops he had in practice with the number of drops he's had in the game. So he had 5 drops on Tuesday and 5 drops on Wednesday. Yeah, 5 drops on Tuesday, 5 drops on Wednesday, 0 drops on Thursday, 3 drops today. So that's 13 on the week.
Yeah, because I was hearing that there were 2 or 3 teams interested in him in the third round, and I don't think those 3 teams were interested in him in the third round anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets that many drops. It's like, eh.
This was his big rebound week because it's like he was a guy who was on the brink of day 2, got suspended the first 4 games at North Carolina, dominated at Kent State, but he was Drake May's number 1 guy by the end of the season. And Stanford kicker Joshua Carty makes the field goal. My top kicker in the draft. But yeah.
Here's the thing, Chris. He got the rebound, but the problem was when he was coming down with it, instead of securing the rebound, well, his hands were going forward. He threw the ball out of bounds and hit a reporter in the forehead. So, you know, anybody who's watched basketball knows that reference. Anybody who's played it knows. So, like, they probably picturing it in their head and chuckling. Probably wishing they could do it to somebody who's in the crowd. But,
and Michael Pratt, that's not his fault. Cody Schrader dropped the pass, and Cody Schrader's drop nearly led to an interception. That's not Pratt's fault. You can watch the blocking here. He really didn't have a lot of time to make this throw. Schrader dropped it, and that nearly led to a pick. Because Schrader tipped the pass, that nearly led to a second pick by Evan Williams.
I'm not even sure that
Manuel Williams, but yeah.
I could consider that as a reason for all those picks. That changed the trajectory to the point that made it a better pick.
Yeah.
Because the trajectory was like that. Holy jeez.
Michael Pratt fumbles the snap, and it looks like somebody from Michigan. I think that's Junior Colson. I'm not sure.
No, he just dropped it. He just dropped
No,
it.
that's Harrell from Michigan. Harrell with the fumble recovery.
Yeah. And Harrell was a good player for Michigan.
Jalen Harrell, an edge rusher.
Not a big, yeah, he wasn't a starter, I don't think. But he did a really nice job coming off the edge for Michigan all year. So,
yeah, and Penix gives Harrell a high five, and he's like, even though you whooped my ass in the title game, we're good. We're good. You got the ball back.
yeah, of course.
Sam Hartman intercepted. So we have back-to-back turnovers on back-to-back plays is number 19 with the interception. Yeah. Who is that? 19 on the American team. Is that no? I don't know who that is. Is that Bo Braid? Who is that? Is that Chris Abrams Drain, Missouri? I don't think that's Missouri. If I had to guess, I would guess it's Carlton Johnson, Fresno State. But I don't know who that is. Helmet. I saw Johnson on the back of the jersey. I saw Johnson on the back of the jersey. I saw Johnson was on the back. Jarvis, was it Jarvis Brownlee Jr., the Louisville corner that Trevor Seekman told people about? The Pro Football Focus writer took Pelissero. Yeah. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. This has been a really... I thought Carty made the field goal. Did he miss it? Scoreboard says 7-7.
No, they were saying how he made it.
Then why is the score... Why does the score say 7-7 if... So, basically, either the scoreboard's not updated or... Both kickers missed field goals, and then both teams had turnovers.
sure he made it.
I'm pretty sure he made it too. No, he missed it. 7-7. It's 7-7 on the scoreboard.
Interesting.
So 2 missed field goals by the kickers.
Yeah.
So both,
Really interesting first half.
yeah, both teams missed field goals in the second quarter. Both teams had turnovers on their final offensive drives. So that's interesting.
Touchdown on the other side, a touchdown on a great pass a couple plays later. And those are the 2 scores for the game. Second quarter.
Yeah. Daniel Jeremiah had the North Carolina receiver ranked ahead of Keon Coleman. I don't think anybody else has whiffed that badly on their Keon Coleman evaluation. It's like he's had 3 drops in the game and 10 drops in practice this week. If he had a drop on Thursday, he'd have 14 drops on the week. But this is still not good.
And we can say what we want to about Keon Coleman, but there was no way.
He should be ranked ahead of the North Carolina receiver in every draft publication. And I get it. Jeremiah did make these rankings before the Senior Bowl. But at the same time, it's like Devontae Walker should not be ranked ahead of Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman's a bona fide first-round player. Keontae Walker's probably a third-round pick at best. And at Coleman's very worst, he's a day 2 pick in the top 40. At the very worst. And the iPad's now at 34%, even though it's plugged in. I think we'll be able to get through this game, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know how much I'll be able to get. I think we'll be able to get through this game, but I'll probably have to end the call after that. So, what second half adjustments do you want to see for both teams?
I want to see more aggression. In the last couple series for both teams, we saw a little bit of that. But for the most part, it looked like the aggression for both defensive teams were playing kind of soft, especially the defensive backs. They were playing further back in zone. They weren't really getting up. They weren't really playing to their full potential. I attribute part of that maybe to that injury that happened in the first quarter. And they probably okay, let's not get this too far out of hand. I mean, these guys are just kind of making an impression for the NFL draft. But I'd like to see the more bumping on coverage. I would like to see tighter coverage. I would like to see, because what this is going to do is going to show me specifically, because we know these guys are athletic. They were showing that in the entire first half. But I want to see how well these guys get out of the work and receiver, and I want to see these quarterbacks and see what their planning is. Run some timing out of it.
Yeah. Greatest teams to never win a Super Bowl.
All the quarterbacks this week was, these guys are not on time. Not on time. Make it where they have to go on time.
Yeah.
I want to see that. Get that thing out there. I want to see the receivers make those cuts. As far as the running backs go, the running backs have been playing incredibly well. I'm a little surprised. I wasn't expecting this type of game from them. They're showing great versatility. I think a couple have played themselves on the track for them. And the offensive line, the tackles, I'm a little disappointed in, but the guards and centers, I'm really liking what they're doing. They're pushing. I would like to see some more from the interior outside of Fish. Nobody from those defensive tackles on either side has really made it. And then I want to see those defensive tackles get up there into the game and put a little bit of pressure
there's a lot of teams that got their first choice in head coach. The Chargers got I think the Falcons and the Commanders were the only two teams that didn't get the number one head coach on their list. Brian Callahan was the number one choice for the Titans on their coaching list. Harbaugh was the number one choice on the Titans coaching list. Dave Canales was number one on the Panthers coaching list, as much as that is a surprise to you, Joey. Antonio Pierce and Gerard Mayo were number one on the Raiders and Patriots coaching lists, promoted from within. I think we saw 7 hirings, and really the only teams that got stuck with leftovers on their coaching big boards were Atlanta, who ended up with Raheem Morris, and Washington, who ended up with Dan Quinn was like the 5th choice on the list. All of the top 3 offensive coordinators chose to return to the teams they were on. Canales went to Carolina, and then the other 2 offensive coordinators, Ben Johnson and the Houston offensive coordinator, both declined the Washington head coaching job. Mike McDaniel was the 4th choice on their, and then Raheem Morris, I think, was 5th. So they ended up with like their 6th option, Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn was like the 6th choice on the Commanders' coaching search. I'm not sure why that's the case, but, I do think that's interesting, to say the least. Don't you think that's somewhat interesting that the only teams that didn't end up with their first choice at head coach are the Falcons and the Commanders? Because usually it doesn't go down like that, where a majority of teams get the number one candidate on their board. Like, I've covered a few NFL drafts and a few drafts where multiple teams got the number one player on their board, but I don't remember a coaching cycle where 5 of the 7 NFL teams got the number one candidate on their coaching board. That's insane. So,
yeah, I thought that was interesting as well, especially how quick he came together. Because usually, and I'm going to extend this to the offensive coordinator search as well. Usually, you don't get this many coaching positions filled until after the conference championship and the Super Bowl, because these coaches are usually the hot. They're the ones that I'm thinking about. Yet almost like one position, maybe 2, were filled before the Super Bowl. All of them were filled before the Super Bowl, but almost all of them were filled before the conference championship game.
yeah.
Which is interesting, because that usually doesn't happen.
Yep. And you look at the coaches who were hired after the Super Bowl. Dan Quinn was one of them, because he was on Seattle when the Falcons hired him as head coach. And then Kyle Shanahan, his offensive coordinator in Atlanta, got hired by the 49ers after Super Bowl 51. So those teams are willing to wait.
I want to give a little bit of credit here to your guys, actually, because one of the positions, one of the people I didn't think that they would look at was Alexander, and the Patriots got Alexander as their offensive coordinator, which I looked at that and I said, that is an amazing hire, because Van Pelt, what he did, he builds up young quarterbacks. He builds up the offense. He keeps everything simple, which is part of the reason he got fired in Cleveland. But at the same time, for a young team like New England, he can fix the problem. He can organize. That's almost stuff Van Pelt does well. So I'm going to give your Patriots a lot of credit for bringing in the perfect guy for the perfect situation.
Yeah.
So,
and for those wondering why there's a book in the background, I am reading Belichick, the book by Ian O'Connor that my brother got me for my birthday. And then a day after my brother got me this book, The Patriots Fired Belichick, it's almost like my brother gave Belichick and the Patriots the kiss of death. But yeah, I'm on chapter 15 of a 19-chapter book. I'm basically reading to myself while Joey talks during halftime. So you can see me reading on the live stream. But, you know,
Belichick, the reason that the Falcons didn't hire him,
he wanted too much control over the team.
As anything I think I have heard in football for a long time, and a very long time, he got fired because he wanted to keep power in New England. And
Jerry Jones praised Bill Belichick as a coach, but ultimately stuck with Mike McCarthy. And he praised Belichick after choosing to stick with McCarthy. So what that tells me is Jerry Jones is willing to give Belichick power, but he wants to wait and see if McCarthy screws up next year before turning things over to Belichick.
But the thing was, the reason they didn't hire him, he wanted power. He wanted to be the GM too. Arthur Blank is not willing to turn it over to him. So Here is the funniest thing ever, that irony continues. When Belichick took over for Cleveland back in the early 90s, he told Bernie Kosar, "We're releasing you."
Yeah, that's in the book on Cleveland. That's in the chapter on Cleveland. Yeah, because Benny Testaverde was playing better at the time. Chapter 7 of Belichick, you find out that they released Bernie Kosar, but then he goes back to Dallas and does well when Aikman's injured. So, yeah.
But the funniest thing he said, he told Bernie, diminishing return. If skills are diminishing. And why is Bill Belichick not being hired now? Because he insists on being the general manager, he insists on running the office, diminishing returns, diminishing skills. So everything he told Bernie is coming back around to bite him in the ass.
Yep.
So that I found most ironic, funny thing ever, because he still cannot, as much as he could tell from somebody else 30 years ago.
Yeah, because it's in Mistakes by the Lake. He basically told Art Modell there's not going to be a quarterback controversy in Chapter 8, Mistakes by the Lake. So you have Chapter 7, Cleveland, and Chapter 8, Mistakes by the Lake in the Belichick book. I'm on Chapter 15, Imperfection. It's about the 18-1 season.
Yeah, but when it comes to that, though, I still think it was a poor decision because Bernie went on to...
They could have hired Mike Vrabel. I just don't like the Raheem Morris hire. But they brought in Zach Robinson from the Rams. So, Zach Robinson...
Basically call plays with Dolphins and create the stage fight. I mean, there were so many things he could have done with Bernie, including trading him, instead of just saying, we're going to release you. We're going to let you walk. You know, that was just a dumb personal decision. I know we can say that looking back 30 years, but, you know, hindsight is 2020. But, you know what we know now. You know,
yep.
Everything, it almost seems like now Bill Belichick is Bernie Kosar. You know, in the way he's thinking. How the wheel turning.
Yeah, because Chapter 8 opens up with the Bernie Kosar being released, the Bernie Kosar being benched for Vinny Testaverde. So.
Well, people in Cleveland still hate Bill Belichick. You know, there is a reason. Bernie Kosar is inspired by the Browns.
Yeah, and that story took up more.
They keep bringing it back. You know, that shows how much Bernie is loved, and at the same time, people still hate Bill for ever let anybody go. So, I mean, there's a comical situation going on there. But it's funny. What would happen if, say people off Bill Belichick and his offensive or defensive coordinator, the entire city would explode. They hate them.
Yep.
You know that's never going to happen, but it would be a comical Rick and Morty type thing in an alternate universe.
Yep.
But it's funny, though. Funny how somebody just hated.
Yeah, but he was with the Colts. Basically, after Belichick got graduated from college, he took a gig with the Colts. All he asked for the Colts was for $4,000 and a car. That's all he asked for. The Lions got him $10,000 and a car, and the Colts didn't want to pay him $4,000 a year and give him a car to the team facilities that the team would own, but he'd have a car to drive to work. But the team could own the car. But that's really all Belichick wanted in his first year after working for free with the Baltimore Colts. And the Colts wouldn't give him that, so the Lions gave him $10,000 a year and a car, and they let him keep the car, and that's how Belichick left the Colts to go to the Lions.
You want to know how greedy these people are? Here's a little fact for you. Ransom, back in the 60s and early 70s, I don't know if they do it anymore, had a deal with a car dealership in massive discount to astronauts. So you had all these astronauts driving around in really nice sports cars. And these people can't even give up $10,000 in a car or $4,000 in a car. Really? Millionaires and billionaires can't give up that much, yet NASA's sitting here.
Well, this was 1973, 1974. Very early mid-70s. But yeah.
That's when NASA was doing this. That's why I'm saying, I'm like, really? Really? NASA's doing this with astronauts? You can't do this for athletes?
Coaches?
NASA's been underfunded for 50, 60 years. 60, 70 years, something like that. And they can afford this. The NFL and regular and sports can't. That tells me there's something wrong there. I didn't say there's something wrong there too for you. Like NASA takes up like 0.2%.
Yeah, Belichick felt like he cost his team a perfect season. After the 18-1 season, he felt like he cost his team a perfect season. How many pages is the Aaron Hernandez chapter? Yeah, chapter 16 of the Belichick book is called Hernandez. I'm guessing that's about Aaron Hernandez. That's 34 pages. I'm not going to be able to read that by the time the second half starts. But hey, I'm on chapter 16 of a 19 chapter book. And I also have Round Zero, Inside the NFL Draft. The other book my brother got me for the birthday about the NFL Draft. Very popular book on Twitter. I think the user of Twitter, Elon Musk and Twitter recommended I follow that person on Twitter. I didn't, but at the same time, it's like I might if the book is good after I read it. But, 7-7, we're officially, Senior Bowl, second half's officially going to be underway. Only QB on the American team that we didn't see was Carter Bradley. So the South team, the American team has 4 quarterbacks, and the national team only has 2 with Penix not playing. I think we're going to see Carter Bradley in the second half. We haven't seen Carter Bradley yet. Yeah. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. had the interception. Tyrese Knight. They're showing some highlights of some guys. And, yeah, they're going to – after the Senior Bowl, they're going to start re-airing some of the Super Bowls. So if you like the Super Bowls – because one thing, after the game ends, they're going to air NFL Total Access from 4 to 5, and then starting at 5 p.m., they'll air reruns of all the Super Bowls. Because I remember watching like the first 13 or 15 Super Bowls before falling asleep. But that's what they do. That's what NFL Network does. Every year they'll re-air all of the Super Bowls. And the goal is, my goal's been to try to stay up and watch all of the Super Bowls without falling asleep. I think I got up to 13 last year before I passed out. Yeah, I got up to
I've seen every for the last 30 years. You would think at some point, you wonder why it's not an intriguing matchup. I wonder why it takes a lot to get him interested in the Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl. Come on, NFL, do better.
Well, it's a rematch from 5 years ago, so I can see why there's much less appeal. If either the Ravens or Lions had won, there'd be appeal to the Super Bowl. Both teams lost, and you're at the point where it's like if the Chiefs make Super Bowl 59, you may get to the tipping point where you boycott the Super Bowl for a year or two until something new happens, the same way you boycotted the national championship in college football. You're not there yet, but you're on the brink of being there, Joey. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's like that's why I wanted the that's why I wanted the Lions one because like the Lions are they would have been tough to do something crazy.
I think we're getting Ravens Lions next year in New Orleans, but because even with the Ravens promoted their inside linebackers coach, who's only 31, Zach Orr, the defensive coordinator. I think he can have a similar impact as Tommy Reese in Cleveland, and he's calling the plays at such a young age. So I think the Ravens are going to be fine. I don't think there's going to be any drop-off in the Ravens, despite losing their defensive backs coach to Tennessee and despite losing their defensive coordinator to Seattle. Sam Hartman hands it off, and the Lions are going to have all their front office guys back and both their coordinators back next year. So I think the Lions are going to dominate the NFC next year.
Yeah, with Ben Johnson back, that's a huge one. We don't know he's gone.
Yeah.
That's huge for them. Nice tough run. That comes after
That's Dylan Laub, the New Hampshire running back that John Vogel interviewed.
Great pass to the Michigan tight end.
Yeah, Dylan Laub, great run by Laub. Oh yeah, the Michigan. You must be a few plays. There we go. Sam Hartman, he scrambles, first down. Jackson Sermon contains the lane. Yeah. And look, it's been an interesting first half. Nobody was really able to capitalize on the other's mistakes. And
that's something we a lot in the NFL this year is taking advantage of these teams collapsing. Defensive ends collapsing down. These quarterbacks, they got to show that they can keep spreading that out a little bit, just like Hartman did there. That was a nice job by him taking advantage of the collapsing defensive end. Did it again right there.
Yep, Sam Hartman first down.
The coordinator, if they're going to collapse down, they're going to have to use that outside linebacker to spy the outside. Not necessarily a player, but an area. And make sure that there does not happen. See how open that was? There was no safety, no linebacker or anything. And when that collapsed down, that defensive end collapsed on it, he just went straight around there. We saw that a lot of NFL this year with defensive coordinators having trouble adjusting to that. And same thing happened right there.
Yep, Sam Hartman drops back.
Okay, so
Apparently, the media leaked a report that Tua Tagovailoa is going to win the Comeback Player of the Year award over Flacco, over DeMar Hamlin, over Baker Mayfield, over who's the fourth nominee for that award?
that's dangerous. Like Hartman trying to down the ball, and because it barely reached the last 30 seconds, they were humbled.
Mm-hmm.
That was dangerous.
Yeah, you're right. That was dangerous. And Hartman with the completion to Luke McCaffrey.
Yeah, that was a great catch because that was not even close to being on target. That was a bullet. McCaffrey reached out one hand. Look at that. Look at that snatch. That was an amazing grab right there. And I noticed they have not played McCaffrey on the outside any, but they have played him on both sides in the Y and the Z, and they haven't played him in the 8. I know they played him in the Z, and Hartman is just inconsistent with his passes.
Yeah, he has been inconsistent. Some passes he's overthrown, other passes he's underthrown.
He's underthrown, overthrown. He is not throwing an accurate ball at all. It's hit bullets all over the fucking place. You know, Van Pelt said he likes moves over Metallica. My man, if he was to turn somebody into moves over Metallica, they had the Patriots.
Yeah.
Guy.
If somebody came to you and said, you're going to get the Ravens and Lions in Super Bowl 59, and you're going to get the Joe Burrow versus Caleb Williams in Super Bowl 60, but the trade-off is you have to watch the Chiefs win another Super Bowl, would you sign up for that? If that's the trade-off. Because that's a good trade-off, but at the same time, I know the fan in you is sick of the Chiefs. And honestly, I think...
It's an interesting trade-off, because for me, okay, so how many other really good teams are in the AFC? And what are the odds that he's not going to make it that match? You know, so I'm going to play the odds on that.
Because
almost like the Americans play the odds right there on turning that running back.
Yep.
Backwards.
Because right now, the 49ers and Chiefs are both the two favorites for Super Bowl 59, with the 49ers being favored for 59, the Chiefs coming in at 2. The Ravens are 4th in odds. The Lions are 5th in odds. But I think we'll get Ravens-Lions next year, and I'm thinking it could be Cincinnati. I don't know if Chicago would make the leap, but you know, if Caleb Williams ends up becoming as good as advertised, he could end up having that leap in year 2. It's interesting. I don't want to speculate past that point, even though we know 61 is going to be in LA. I don't want to speculate past that point. It still feels a little early. But Sam Hartman throws it. It looks like he fumbled it, and Notre Dame player Jean Baptiste, Sam Hartman's teammate at Notre Dame, recovers the ball.
Yeah, I think they threw that a second before the wide open receiver. I believe it was Luke McCaffrey that was over there, and he just did. Did you see how McCaffrey came back to the ball?
Yeah.
He was open on the comeback.
Yeah.
And there was a chance to throw for that, and he didn't do it. Why?
I have a 3rd round grade on Sam Hartman. I had a 2nd round grade on him heading into the midseason. I moved him down to round 3. It's mainly because I've seen him make 5 out of 6 progressions when scanning the field against Navy. But, you know, Hartman's just – it's like Hartman's trying to get me to move him down to day 3. I'm not going to take the bait.
his mechanics are breaking. Yeah, I am not liking. I do not like his footwork on that pass. It's like you can tell his feet will, since that pass went, his feet were.
And Joshua Carty's coming in.
Complete upper body strength.
Yep.
His footwork is a mess.
I mean, what did I type with my Sam Hartman SWAT report? I'll pull that up quickly here and try to, because I do have the SWAT reports updated for 11 of the 15 quarterbacks. Sam Hartman, I'm trying to take what I've seen from his strengths. He can make 1-step, 3-step, 5-step, and 7-step throws. He's got a good arm that allows him to fire the ball in tight windows to keep the defense on their toes. He can throw his short, medium, or deep accuracy. He can play in any type of offensive scheme, make 5 out of 6 progressions. Hartman could only read 2 progressions in 2021. He showed he could improve that number to 3 to 4 in 2022, and then 5 out of 6. Didn't read all the progressions. Has a good arm, but not a great arm. The brain fully develops once you turn 25, and Sam Hartman turns 25 about a month before the NFL season starts. Weaknesses, opportunities, 70 New York Giants, 72 Jets, 74 Falcons, 76 Broncos, and 77 Raiders. But yeah.
And something else, I think he has good pocket awareness. He just has horrific footwork to go away, to go with it.
Why is the footwork horrific if he's got all the only thing I really go with in footwork is the 1-step, 3-step, 5-step, 7-step drop. I pay more attention to that in terms of footwork, and then I overlook little details on footwork that I probably shouldn't be overlooking when evaluating.
Because there are a lot of things outside of that with footwork, like the pointing of the toe, the placement of the feet themselves. If you step too far, how that affects. If you step too shallow, how that affects it. If you get your feet too far apart, because the ball will project where the front foot lands and how the ball.
Yeah, 5 Point Vids is a Super Bowl show every year, and they have like Barry McCockiner. They have the guys who are regulars now on the 5 Points podcast, like Urinating Tree, Tom Grossi. They each call in separately. I think Jaguar Gator is set to be on that this year. Jaguar Gator, he's a YouTuber that does a lot of NFL history videos, and he got a law degree. He's a Jaguars fan that lives in Arizona. So, yeah, we got a Browns fan that lives in Jacksonville and Joey, and we got a Jaguars fan that lives in Arizona. I just think that's interesting. But, yeah, I mean, Barry Sanders. Is Barry Sanders at the Senior Bowl? No, that's who is that? Thurman Thomas, the predecessor to Barry Sanders at Oklahoma State. Yeah, he's the predecessor to Barry Sanders at Oklahoma State. Also the longtime running back for the Bills. Yeah, Bills legend. You beat me to the punch, but yeah.
I remember watching him. It's like I thought he was so freaking underrated. Everybody was talking about Kevin Smith, Barry Sanders, and all that. And Thurman would just go in there, just pound out the arm. I mean,
we've talked about the running back renaissance on the podcast from like 2015 to 2022. Now it just feels like the peak of running backs. But the 90s was the golden age of running backs. Like,
the 90s was the golden age of a lot of things. The golden age of country music, the golden age of female singers, the golden age of sci-fi, the sci-fi movies, the golden age of
Golden age of NBA. NBA golden age. Yeah, the NBA was the golden age in the 90s.
Well, I could say the golden age of the NBA was
the 80s.
But if you ask the 90s and college, the 90s, absolutely, because college game was not as big in the 80s. But if you put them together, basketball as a whole, the 90s were there. The 90s were amazing.
Yeah.
Or if you NBA and college basketball, like
Carter Bradley is now in the game.
you know,
takes a handoff, and Carter Bradley hands it off. I don't know why the Buccaneers logo is on Carter Bradley's helmet. Is that his old high school? Like, why is that logo? Yeah,
Southern Alabama.
What's the pirate ship doing on his South Alabama helmet?
There's no pirate. Oh, the back decal. I see that.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a very good question. But I'm interested to see how Bradley plays.
Yeah, he's the son of Gus Bradley, Colts defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
This could very well be the Minshew replacement. If Gardner Minshew wants more money and the Colts aren't willing to pay him, Carter Bradley as a backup to Anthony Richardson could very well be in play. But I'm thinking the Colts would rather give Minshew a 2 or 3 year bridge deal and draft Bradley in the 6th round as a third string quarterback and ease him into that backup role.
Because Carter Bradley is a guy I've only seen sparingly, but I've heard a lot of good things about. So I'm interested to see how he does. I think he is the last quarterback for the Americans. I think we'll see him the rest of the
I do too. It's basically going to be Sam Hartman versus Carter Bradley.
Yeah, and now that was a very nice
Smith Wade with a
very nice point there.
Bay first down.
Yeah, that was Daly's had a good game as well.
Yep.
And Bradley looks the part. I mean, you see the hand motion and everything going to his ear for communication, and like, he looks the part. He looks like he's the leader of that team.
Yep.
I can't say that about the other American quarterbacks. Yeah, he definitely looks the part. He definitely has. You can tell that he has the mentality just by looking at it.
Yep.
When he goes into the huddle. And yeah, so that's really interesting. Like, I like that. So
2:14 left in the third quarter. Carter Bradley drops back to pass, and the receiver dropped it there. Dwayne Carter, the Duke defensive tackle, with a nice hurry on that play. And Dwayne Carter is the next player I'm doing a film cut for on the YouTube channel. I've got most of the games updated on Rumble. I do have a Florida State-Georgia Bowl game and the Michigan-Alabama playoff game ready to upload to Rumble at a later point. But I want to finish my QB rankings and maybe try to update my NFL and NHL mock drafts on the site before I get into the Dwayne Carter film cut. But that is the next player I plan on doing a film cut of. Heard some good things about Carter during the Senior Bowl week.
6'3", 216 pounds. So Bradley has the body.
Yeah.
The school record, 3,326 yards, 276 completions, 28 touchdowns.
Yeah, Tony Mario basically, Bimley. How did all the analytics shit work out for Dan Campbell? Didn't get him anywhere. all because he didn't want to kick a field goal. And then he goes, yeah, it's just getting to the point where it's killing the game to where you don't want to watch anymore. They must think they're playing Madden out there, the coaches. Oh, boy. But to be fair, someone saying I didn't log into Overflow Cafe in a few months. That is bullshit. I logged into Overflow Cafe earlier this month, and they help with the SEO, search engine optimization, for Draft Utopia. They're a company in Canada that makes websites popular. So that's basically what they do. And yeah, they've removed 1,276 toxic backlinks saved. We have a 3.5 out of 10 Google volatility, A+ grade versus our competitors. We have a 100 out of 100 website authority, a 100 out of 100 website reputation, and a 100 out of 100 website visibility. And we have a black belt level on Google's preview when the words Draft Utopia come up. Yeah, and keywords. I wanted to change my keywords to 2024 mock draft, but it's not letting me change the keywords, even though I've made mock drafts and keyword suggestions. I wish. Oh wait, the keywords. Let's take a look at the home section of Draft Utopia, the home page, because I bet the keywords.
I pulled up the career stats for Carter Bradley. 24 games played, 497 out of 753, 19 interceptions, 47 touchdowns, 6,003 yards, 84 is his goal.
Yep.
86% completion on his career, 8 average, and 250 yards a game. That is for his career in 24 games. So, a 6'3", 216 pounds, I believe. Oh shit! And that's it.
Yeah, the metas. So the keywords. I changed the keywords on the meta so that the 2024 mock drafts show up. Good. So, but yeah, we've been featured on AZ Central, Miller Live. We were featured on MLS.com. We were featured on the LA Times leading up to the 2016 MLB draft. NFL mock draft database. Habs on the Prize, a Canadian site. Colts.com. Colts.com linked us leading up to the 2018 NFL draft. That's pretty cool. I didn't know we were linked on the Colts. But yeah, that's basically what Overflow Cafe does. They handle the social media stuff for the site. Dallas News. So yeah, Fox Sports, Digital Journal, MLSsoccer.com. So yeah, we've been featured on a few sites. Our content's been linked to. So those are backlinks. But yeah, looking at the Senior Bowl game, definitely some interesting storylines heading into the final quarter of this thing. So the only way to change the keywords is to update the homepage of the website. Since keyword suggestions, Overflow used to have a feature where you enter the keyword and they would handle that keyword for you. and it says if you need help with this, please contact us. And it's like, I don't want to contact you. I want to be able to type in what I want you to boost my SEO for. And if I'm using Overflow Cafe's services where they charge $25 a month, I expect you to handle that for me. That's the whole point. Now, you've done a good job getting our Google traffic up, but it's like, that's something I expect you to handle. But yeah, I mean, step one, SEO basics. Set up and configure Google Console. Set up and configure Google Analytics, SEO plugins. Ensure your robots.txt is proper and does not block Google from rendering your site. Perform. Okay, I'm going to X out Overflow Cafe, but I can log into the site. There's no issues there. Just sorry about the rant, folks. It's just somebody at their company emailed me, said you haven't logged into a few months. And I remember logging in before the NFL playoffs started. And then, so it's like, yeah, that is false. I don't like them basically saying something that's not true. But Sam Hartman, 5 for 17, 50 yards and a pick. I mean, I don't remember a quarterback at the Senior Bowl with a stat line that bad. Like the games. No, it's not. All right. Really has the nerve to email Draftopia. I had Mahomes, Jake, from State Farm. There's a lot more interesting people you could be emailing about State Farm opportunities besides myself. Like my auto. Travis Kelce, he's my auto in the State Farm commercials. But yeah, Hartman hands it off to 21, and 21 runs for sure. Or no, Kentucky, South Dakota State. Yeah, so Isaiah Davis, 3 carries, 27 yards. That's going to be a first down, but one of the teams is calling a timeout here before this third quarter ends. I think Bo Nix is trying to tell the coach that he wants to come back in the game and put the American team away. But the coach is like, well, we're going to play Hartman. We know you're the guy, Bo. Sam Hartman planned his feet well on that throw, but did a poor job reading the coverage. And Watson, the Mississippi State linebacker, with the deflection, he had a pick earlier in the game. If the American team wins this, it's going to be because of Hartman just making bad decisions. And Hartman, some of these throws Hartman's made are brutal throws. Like, they're the type of throws you'd expect from a quarterback who pulled an all-nighter at the Waffle House. Yeah, there's a Waffle House by the Airbnb where I stayed at in Mobile, Alabama, and that Airbnb is within walking distance of the South Alabama campus. So when it was raining and I heard one of the practices was at South Alabama, I was like, okay, that's within walking distance of, and then they built the new stadium, Hancock-Whitney. So I didn't have to go from my Airbnb to Lad Peebles. That was nice in 2021 during the COVID year. And Hartman with the first down to Luke McCaffrey. And why is the clock stopping with 6 seconds? If a team's not burning a timeout, like, I have an issue with the clock management more than Hartman's throws. But as soon as I compare Sam Hartman to somebody who pulled an all-nighter at the Waffle House, he starts throwing completions and putting it together. So Waffle House jokes are the key to motivating Sam Hartman, folks. And you got Luke McCaffrey in the Christian McCaffrey photo. Cardi? Possession changes after each quarter. That's why they're letting Cardi kick the field goal now. And the national team has burned their second of 3 timeouts. I would call another play. Get Cardi a little bit closer before attempting this kick, Joey. That's just me. It's like, you got 8 seconds left. Field goal takes 5-6 seconds tops. I'd call one more play and then call my last timeout. I don't agree with the coaching decision here, but I get it. I understand the thought process. And it's up and it's good. Cardi, 2 for 3 on field goals. And the national team leads the American team 13-7 after 3 quarters of play. Yeah, we got a big 4th quarter coming up. Carter Bradley versus Sam Hartman. He drilled that thing. And that's the end of the 3rd quarter. I'm going to let Joey provide some thoughts while I use the restroom. One more quarter on the live stream, folks, and then we'll be done for the day.
So far from what I've been seeing from this game, mainly from St. Hartman, because we have to look at Hartman from the standpoint of what we expected him to be, which was a raw quarterback, but I don't think I expected him to be as raw as he turned out to be. That is a major issue, a major point of contention, especially with me, is how minimal his footwork has been. He has not had good footwork. His passes have been woefully inaccurate. He has not played. I expected to see a lot of good things from him, but I see more bad than good. I expect he has lowered his draft stock. And also somebody else who's lowered his draft stock is Walker, the receiver from North Carolina. I think I've got 4 drops so far today.
So he's had 4 drops today.
So I
5 in the first 2 days of practice. It's insane. He had 5 drops in Tuesday, 5 drops on Wednesday. So that's 14 on the week. That's 5 on Tuesday, 5 on Wednesday, 0 on Thursday, and 4 today. Somebody said he had 1 drop on Thursday. I don't know if he had 1 or 0 drops, but it was his best day of the week on Thursday. So I'm not sure if he had 14 or 15 drops on the week, but that's still pretty bad. That's probably a record for most Senior Bowl drops in a week. If we count the practices and the games, to have 14 or 15 on the week, that's got to be a record. And not in a good way. Like, that's got to be a Senior Bowl record for most drops in a week. I think he has the record for that. I think the previous record was 13 drops. So, yeah, Walker now has the record for drops in a week. You know, so...
Yeah, those are the 2 biggest losers. You can't play that poorly at what is basically the start of your process and your job interviews and such, and come out. The other quarterbacks all showed something positive, whether it was Rattler and his accuracy and his ability to get the ball out on time, Bo Nix and his ball placement, McCaffrey with his ability to crowd, a couple of different types of balls. Everybody's showing something.
Yeah, Carter Bradley overthrew it. Yeah. So Carter Bradley did overthrow it on 1st and 10. Fourth quarter here. Jeremiah's Brock Bowers dropping to the Colts. I don't think Bowers is going to fall that far in the draft, DJ. And if he falls out of the top 10, I can guarantee you somebody's going to trade up. If he falls out of the top 10, I can guarantee you a team like the Bengals is going to, or the Dolphins is going to try to trade up for Bowers if he falls that far in the draft. Because if Bowers, for me, is a top 5 player right now.
Yeah, and I think somebody who didn't help his stock or hurt his stock in this game was like McConkey from Georgia.
Vlad McConkey, 84. They're just showing clips of him.
Yeah, I don't think he helped his stock. At the same time, I don't think he hurt his stock either.
Yeah.
I think
there's some that have him going in the first round, just looking at what he did against Ole Miss on film. I have him in the early second round at the moment, and McConkey got open on that play, but Carter Bradley couldn't get it to him. And
that was a weird throw, sidearm throw.
Yeah, I mean, McConkey got separation from Kalen King. He's open on that play, but the QB just couldn't get him the ball.
Yeah, it's like right after I say he hasn't done enough to raise his stock, he gets open twice. So it's like, if I had said anything, he would have kept going like he had all game. But since I said something, he's like,
That's basically what happened with Sam Hartman. I made a joke saying that Sam Hartman played like a guy pulling an all-nighter at the Waffle House, and he throws a 20-yard completion to Luke McCaffrey, and after that, the national team gets in field goal range because I made a Sam Hartman Waffle House joke. Same effect applies to you with Lad McConkey. I swear, if we roast a Senior Bowl prospect, that prospect's just going to turn on the Jets. Okay, so Super Bowl 36 or Super Bowl 10? What's the better Super Bowl? I did a... Yeah, so Drake May, the Bears. So Colton Edwards, he did a mock draft this morning. He has the Commanders trading up for Caleb Williams, giving up a 2025 first just to move up one spot. Marvin Harrison Jr. at 2, May 3. O'Dune's neighbors, Jane Daniels, goes to the Raiders. They trade up with the Giants. Joe Alt, Dallas Turner to Atlanta verse. Dallas Turner, I don't think he's as good as Verse or Latu personally. Fashanu to the Jets at 10. Bo Nix, the Broncos at 12. I like Bo Nix, but I think Denver's a poor fit for Bo Nix because of the wind and the altitude in Denver. And I get that Bo Nix beat Colorado, but Oregon was the home team in that game. So it's like, I think if you're Denver, you got to take Penix because the altitude and the environment there, Joey, I just don't think Bo Nix is a good fit for Denver personally. I think that is legitimately the worst team Knicks could end up on. That could be, I don't think it's going to be as disastrous as Paxton Lynch, but at the same time, I just don't think Denver's a good fit for Bo Nix.
Yeah, I don't think it is either. I don't think Bo Nix has the arm strength to...
Yeah, I'll keep reading this mock. Keon Coleman to the Giants, Fuaga to the Saints, Kool-Aid to the Colts, Brock Bowers to Seattle. That's a criminally underrated pick. If the Seahawks get Brock Bowers, Pete Carroll is going to be doing jumping jacks in John Schneider's office, and John Schneider's going to have to tell him to settle down. That's how big of a steal that pick would be. Brian Thomas Jr. to the Jaguars. I don't like Brian Thomas Jr. in the first round. I'm sorry, I don't. It's not... he's a talented wide receiver, but he dropped like 3 or 4 balls against Alabama. I just laughed him to the Bengals. Cooper DeJean to the Rams. Guyton to the Steelers. Fatanu to the Dolphins as a guard. Jackson Powers Johnson to the Eagles to replace Kelsey. I would have gone that route had I not gone Powers Johnson to Miami. Jerzon Newton to the Texans. Quinion Mitchell to Dallas. Terry and Arnold to Green Bay. McCarthy to the Buccaneers. So you're basically telling me we're not paying Baker Mayfield. We're paying Mike Evans and Antoine Winfield Jr. I don't understand the McCarthy pick to the Buccaneers. I don't agree with that. I think the Buccaneers will pay Baker Mayfield, and if he sucks next year without Canales, they'll draft a QB in 2025. Chop Robinson, Cardinals. Ladd McConkey to the Bills. Nate Wiggins to the Lions. Sweat to the Ravens. Troy Franklin to the Chiefs, and Amarius Mims to the Niners. That's Colton Edwards' one-round mock draft. And Sam Hartman just could not move the needle. Sam Hartman thought he was off the hook from Waffle House jokes after I made the mock draft, and he goes 3 and out as a result. As Ladd McConkey gets the punt return. But yeah, Sam Hartman, what a play. Is that Tyke Smith, the breakup? Then really nice play there. But 10 minutes, 10 seconds are left in this fourth quarter. Appreciate everybody who's listened to the stream on Facebook and on Twitter. I've been to Vegas, Allegiant Stadium. I've been on the field of Allegiant Stadium for the Shrine Bowl. So this year's Super Bowl will be the first Super Bowl where I've actually been on the field of the sideline. Now, I'm curious to see what sideline, because I was on like the North team sideline where the Patriots were coaching the players. That was the sideline I chose to be on. So I was on the sideline with the Patriots coaching staff and the players like Zay Flowers, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I'm kind of curious to see like what sideline the Chiefs and Niners end up getting for the Super Bowl. I wish there was a mock-up of that. Because, that's something I would like to know. Let's Google that. Super Bowl 58 sidelines. I'm just kind of curious what the sidelines are going to look like. So, Spencer White. So, a toe injury sidelines Kittle. So, Tracy Wolfson and Evan Washburn are going to be the sideline reporters for Super Bowl 58. But I'm curious what sideline if Wolfson or Washburn gets the same sideline I got when I went to the Shrine Bowl. I'm definitely curious about that. Something I want to talk about next week, but I don't know for certain what sideline, and that information is probably not going to be leaked to the public. Is this an emergency quarterback? No, it's Carter Bradley to Sanote. Unless the American team brought somebody else back in. No, they brought Joe Milton back in. So Joe Milton's getting a second look, Joey. That's an interesting decision. I wonder if the national team will bring in Bo Nix. If the American team ends up scoring, I bet the national team brings Bo Nix back in for the final drive. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
Well, that really depends on if they want to see how he handles taking the final drive in close game.
Yeah. Cedric Gray, the North Carolina middle linebacker, with the tackle. Had a relatively quiet Senior Bowl week, but he's managed to get something going here in this fourth quarter. But yeah, and Schrader with the ball now, and Cedric Gray with another big stop on third down. Cedric Gray's had a few nice plays at the Senior Bowl. Had a relatively quiet week in practice, as I've stated earlier, but he was a top 5 middle linebacker entering Mobile this week. Really clutch plays here for him, for Brandon Fisk. I'm starting to get a real bad headache.
Fisk, I think he is up his top. He has been the one defensive tackle that has made a difference in this game. So I definitely believe he.
I mean, I could see him getting picked on day 2, but I also could see him getting picked in the 5th round because I still have Fabian Lovett ahead of him. But I want to see what those guys do at the combine because there's just so many defensive tackles in this year's draft.
Yeah, I was going to say this is just the beginning of the process. I think he moved into day 2, but can he keep up this level of production and intensity going through the entire process?
Yeah.
When you get off this honest,
when you do well at the Senior Bowl, teams begin to think, okay, this guy's got the intangibles to start in the NFL. Well, he's got to ace the other parts of the draft process, though, before we can fully invest in him.
Yeah, now he's got to keep it up.
Yeah. But yeah, Super Bowl 58, I'm not going to say much, but I feel like Brock Purdy, 49ers, if Brock Purdy's going to get a second contract after his rookie deal, I think it comes down to this Super Bowl, Joey, because I don't think the Niners get back to Super Bowl 59 next year in New Orleans. So, you know, if the Niners lose this Super Bowl and Purdy has two okay but not spectacular years, I could see the Niners not re-signing him after his rookie deal and just getting another QB on a rookie deal. But if he wins this, they're going to pay him. They're going to pay Purdy. So, yeah, that's really why this Super Bowl is big for Brock Purdy. Look, NFL Network, the Chiefs are the AFC champions. The AFC team is the home team. You need to put the Chiefs on the right of your photo, and you need to put the Niners, the visiting team, on the left. That's how it works. That's how the picture formula works. Somebody like me who's an amateur in media should not be telling a $1 million company like NFL Network how to do their job. Come on, guys. It's like, I'm starting to get a really bad headache. It feels like somebody's drilling a hammer into my head. Am I probably going to take an Advil after this? Yeah, but I'm not going to take an Advil during the live stream. I'm not that irresponsible. I have more self-discipline than that. Ugh. But we got 7 minutes, 46 seconds left. Hopefully, and no, even though Sam Hartman's made some bad throws, I don't think any of those throws have been bad enough to nail a drill into Joey's head. So, Hartman, 5-step drop, lobs it deep, and Walker drops it again. 5 drops on the day for Quintez Walker. That was, to be fair to Walker, that was really good coverage by Washington State's defensive back. But that's a drop, though. That still counts a drop. That was in Walker's vicinity. His hand touched the ball. That does count as a drop. So he has 15 drops on the week. If you take his 5 drops from Tuesday, Wednesday, and I mean, I had a 3rd-round grade on him before this Senior Bowl game. And because he can make 5 out of 6 progressions, I kind of feel like leaving him there. But I'm probably going to get a lot of backlash for leaving Sam Hartman in the 3rd round. Like, I'm talking people posting SpongeBob SquarePants clips of the angry fish retorting to my decision to keep Sam Hartman in the 3rd round. Yeah, the angry fish from SpongeBob. Yep. But yeah, Sam Hartman, he throws it, and he tries to go back to Quintez Walker. He overthrows it. And now Quintez Walker is like the angry fish on SpongeBob. You missed me by 2 feet, Sam. And then Sam's like, at least I didn't drop 5 passes on the day. And Torrey Taylor punts it back. I mean, I was at the Shrine Bowl last year. I think it was 12-3. Jake Moody made 2 field goals. And then I think the extra point was blocked. But Moody made 2 field goals. I think it was 12-3. I'm going to look up the 2023 Shrine Bowl really quickly. The game I was at in person. I know it was a defensive game. Yeah, Jake, it was 12-3. There was 1 touchdown. This is the 75th Senior Bowl. Next year will be the 100th Shrine Bowl. I wish they would have kept the Shrine Bowl on Saturdays, to be honest, instead of moving it to Thursdays. And, yeah. Troy Brown was the head coach for the Shrine Bowl. The receivers coach in the Patriots, and Brian Belichick was the co-defensive coordinator. But, yeah. No. Jake Moody made 4 field goals in the Shrine Bowl last year. He made 4 field goals. There were no touchdowns in the Shrine Bowl last year. It was all field goals. Every score in the game was a field goal. I was on the sideline for like 3 hours, and every score in the game was a field goal. Imagine if that was the Super Bowl and it was 12-3 Chiefs, and every score in the game was a field goal. That would be, I don't think you'd take pleasure in watching a 12-3 Super Bowl, Joey, where every score in the game is a field goal. And the league actually has to give a kicker Super Bowl MVP. Honestly, that would be kind of hilarious if a kicker won Super Bowl MVP. I don't think it'll happen, but it'd be hilarious if it did happen. And the final score of the Super Bowl was 12-3, and the league actually had to give a kicker Super Bowl MVP. Joe Milton drops back almost as a Dan Orlovsky moment, but then he throws a completion to Sinote, and Sinote is going to get the first down for the American team. 3:54 left in this one. And yeah,
And I like that Milton's in there. Give Milton a chance to, orchestrate this drive a little bit. And I think he's really good with how he beats up the game. He can run that hurry up offense. Within 4 minutes, going to get 4-minute offense going.
Joe Milton drops back. He finds Ladd McConkey. First down, American team. American team still has 2 timeouts. And McConkey gets that separation on Kalen King. The more I see Kalen King, the more I want to move him into the second round of my mock draft. I had Kalen King in the late first round of the mock I did earlier, but the more I see Kalen King today, the more I'm thinking, okay, Kalen King is not a first-round corner. He's not. Cooper DeJean's going to get his spot as cornerback 5. Milton scrambles.
And right there, we saw what did we say when he threw that interception? He's got to be more decisive in his decision and when he's running. And right there, he did. He picked up the yardage.
And Williams, the defensive back who intercepted him, made the tackle. But Milton did a great job fighting for the yards as well.
Yes. And that shows that Milton can learn from his mistakes, which is that's really good.
Milton. First down for the national team. American team. American team has ready-made, no assembly required. Jackson Powers, Johnson, center, Oregon. Peyton Wilson, middle linebacker, NC State. Marshawn Lloyd, running back. Theo Johnson, tight end, Penn State. I have Peyton Wilson as a 43 outside linebacker. Ladd McConkey, wide receiver, Georgia. But those are the ready-made, no assembly required players. I believe the Senior Bowl does have a 2-minute warning after this. Milton, going to chuck it deep, and it's intercepted by Smith Wade, the Washington State corner. And that is going to be a pick six unless somebody can tackle him. So Smith Wade has canceled the 2-minute warning. So, because now the 2-minute warning is going to be at like 138. Assuming this is a touchdown. Is that the latest you've ever seen a 2-minute warning go down to 138? Is that the latest you've ever seen a 2-minute warning go down to in all your years of watching football? Because I think that's the latest 2-minute warning for me.
But here's the thing. Two things I noticed about that interception. One, miscommunication by the wide receiver and the quarterback. Quarterback looked like he was expecting a fade where the receiver turned in. That's just not being used to playing with the guy.
I think it's going to be, he's going to be down at the 1-yard line because it said 13-7 with 138 as the 2-minute warning. So I think he's going to be down at like the 1-yard line or something. I don't know. We'll find out after the commercial break.
And the second thing I noticed, that was a hell of an interception. Diving backwards over your shoulder, interception. So that was a hell of an interception as well. So those two things were the two things I noticed off that. Poor communication and just not used to playing, the receiver and the quarterback not used to playing together. And,
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because it's like if Urinating Tree was doing a Senior Bowl live stream, he'd be like, Sam Hartman went 7 for 23 and he won. He won, Tom. That's essentially what he'd be saying. I'm sorry, that's just a funny reaction. We love what the YouTubers do on their channels, but it's like the reaction is what makes that hilarious. The reaction to Sam Hartman playing that badly and winning. It's like, that's...
Yeah, I like what I saw, though, from Milton. I do think he is a work in progress.
Yep.
But I really like what I saw from him. I like the fact that he loved his face. I like the fact that he seems...
And they're showing the Senior Bowl office where you pick up the media passes. That's what they're showing on NFL Network. But yeah, I've gone into that Senior Bowl office to pick up the media pass. And Smith Wade is getting the chain for the national team. He is getting the chain. Teammates have handed him the chain, the sign of honor, the sign of respect. He kisses the chain for the camera. But it is first and goal here. Are we going to see Sam Hartman or are we going to see Bo Nix here? It looks like Nix might be in the game. I don't know. It is Hartman. Hartman still. Hartman back in the game.
Look the helmet.
Hartman drops back. Ugh. And he overthrows Walker once again.
He threw it to the cameraman, and he was still off target to the cameraman. He didn't even throw it out of bounds to a cameraman on target. So, it's like...
Yeah, it's like I'm still going to keep my 3rd round grade on Sam Hartman, but at this point, we're at the point where Joey's going to give an NFL team an F grade if they take Hartman in the 3rd round, just based on this game alone.
I'm at the point that I'm going to take as many 80s movies and jokes as I can and just Hartman the fuck out of it. This is horrific effort from Hartman on this day.
Yeah, speaking of 80s jokes, Right here, it says in the Gray's Sports Almanac that Sam Hartman will finish this game 8 for 25. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He's currently 7 for 24. That would mean the Gray Sports Almanac from the Back to the Future 2 movie would be correct if Hartman throws a touchdown here. Because that would make him 8 for 25 on the day.
I swear, if he throws pick six, it goes like 108 yards. So just be
yeah, Hartman has 1 interception, no touchdowns on the day. If he throws a completion here, the Sports Almanac would be correct. 8 for 25, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Hartman hands it off, and they get gang tackled here. But hey, you just need a field goal, and it's a 16-7 win. But, I can sympathize with the people on the sideline because this is essentially what the 2023 Shrine Bowl that I went to was like.
In this game, we did see, Hartman aside, we did see some really.
Yeah, and the American team burns their last time out here. So, if this is a block kick, you could theoretically win this game with Rattler or Milton. You could theoretically, there would be an opportunity for redemption for Milton if you can block the field goal here.
The stat that I saw that the Chiefs and the Browns have, over the last 4 years, gotten a lot of their draft picks from the team.
Yeah, DeJuan Jones last year. I think Juan Thornhill was from the Senior Bowl when the 2019 draft took place. Rashee Rice, Senior Bowl, last year's draft. Yep. Deebo Samuel was a Senior Bowl guy. Niners second-round pick after Nick Bosa in 2019. Purdy was a Shrine Bowl guy, but yeah, kick is good. And Cardi, 3 for 4 on the day. I think we're looking at Joshua Cardi as the Senior Bowl MVP, Joey. I mean, we had a kicker as the Shrine Bowl MVP last year in the game I went to. I think Cardi's probably going to be the Senior Bowl MVP if I had to guess right now, Joey. I think Smith Wade, the Wake Forest corner, could have been. Yeah, I'm here, Joey. But I think Smith Wade would have been the MVP had it not been for him being down at the 1 yard line. If Smith Wade got a touchdown, I think he's the Senior Bowl MVP. But at the but at the same time, it's like he didn't get a touchdown, and Cardi has 3 field goals on 4 attempts, and he almost made the 4th field goal. So it's like Moody went 4 for 4 on field goals. That's what it took for him to win Shrine Bowl MVP. You could give it to Bo Nix too, but I just think that'd be kind of lazy. That'd be the popularity contest approach. But yeah, the last time a Senior Bowl player was MVP, despite being on the losing team, it was Justin Herbert back in 2020. And Rattler was Keith Randolph Jr., who I have in the 5th round ahead of Fisk at the moment. But, it's like such a deep defensive tackle class. You have Keith Randolph Jr. and you have Gabe Hall in the game now for the national team.
And they're playing a wide time. So
yep.
For the last minute, we're going to see a little bit of pass rushing from some of the big
Pratt
guys.
Throws it to Schrader, but Cedric Gray with another big play. Cedric Gray's had a very big 4th quarter. Schrader should have been able to hold on to that, because the hits are going to be a lot harder in the NFL than what Cedric Gray did. So,
and I think that's something else that this game did, is getting these guys used to playing against higher level competition. And taking the harder hits and being more of a focal point of the offense and or defense. So it's putting them in different situations than they're
Yep.
So
Michael Pratt, boom, first down to Jamari. No, that's not Jamari Thrash. That is that's the guy on Southeast Missouri State. Yeah, Southeast Missouri State had a Senior Bowl guy.
And that was a big hit too.
Under 40 seconds left at the Senior Bowl here. The national team leads it. We'll stick around to reveal who wins the MVP, but then we are signing off. You'll get our Super Bowl preview next week. Right now, the standings are Lisa's going to win. I moved into 5th place on the year. I moved into 5th, a tie for 5th nationally with Tyler Sullivan of CBS. Kerm is 13th. Tanya and Brian. Jason switched his pick to the Lions. So Jason's outside the top 5 on Draft Utopia for the first time in history. So it is Brian Bayless and Tanya Holmes competing for a 4th place tie. Brian is leaning with the Chiefs, which means Tanya has to pick the Niners to win the tiebreaker. It's interesting because Oren and I were tied for 3rd place when these teams met in Super Bowl 54. And I was like, since Oren's never gotten a Super Bowl winner right, fuck it, I'm going to take the Chiefs. I thought the Niners initially had the better roster heading into 54, but since Oren took the Niners to win that game, I was like, you know what? I do not want to be tied with Oren. I'm going to take the Chiefs. That was the first time I made a Super Bowl prediction based on emotion rather than logic, and it worked out for me. So you could do that in order to avoid last place outright. And Pratt throws an interception, and that is Smith Wade with his 2nd pick. So I think Smith Wade with 2 picks now, I think he has a case over the kicker as Senior Bowl MVP. But Pratt here winds up. I think Rattler had 0 incompletions on the day. Maybe he had 1, I don't remember. But if they do go with a player on the losing team as MVP, I would think it is Rattler. And the Reese's Gatorade bath. They dump Reese's on the Jets coordinator. They dump Reese's on him. And Pelissero's going to interview the winning coach. Oh, Mike Maggioretti from Football Alliance. I see him on the field. It's funny because I saw him at the I saw him at the Senior Bowl back in 2020. So I'm already familiar with some of the media people interviewing these guys. And then coaches. So yeah. And it looks like Smith Wade is going to get the Senior Bowl MVP. I don't know. But that cup of Reese's goes to the Senior Bowl MVP. Last year, I think it went to one of the quarterbacks. Might go to Luke McCaffrey, too. I mean, like, let's look at the Senior Bowl MVP. It was Jake Haener, the Fresno State quarterback, who won Senior Bowl MVP last year. He's now on the New Orleans Saints. But, I mean, there's a few players that you can make the case for. Smith Wade, it would be my pick personally. Wouldn't it be how badly are you going to roast the Senior Bowl if they give Sam Hartman the Senior Bowl MVP honors? I mean, just curious, Joey.
I'll probably never see it as a serious award again.
Oh, shit. Imagine if I was doing the live stream from Mobile, Alabama, and you said that on the air. Oh, there goes my media pass.
Wow.
That was a joke. But yeah, it's like, yeah.
I mean, ask the right question, get the right answer. Ask the wrong question, get back.
Yep.
That's all I can say.
Yep.
It's like,
It looks like the MVP is going to go to a player on the losing team for the second time ever. And I basically said, Justin Herbert, even though Justin Herbert's team lost, he was the Senior Bowl MVP. And Spencer Rattler is this year's Senior Bowl MVP. And Jim Nagy basically steals a piece of the Reese's peanut butter cup from the bowl and eats it on NFL Network. Clever. Yep, Rattler. Second time a player on the losing team has won the Senior Bowl MVP. Justin Herbert's team with Jalen Hurts lost to Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia won the Senior Bowl over the Bengals coaching staff back in 2020 before the Bengals made Super Bowl 56. Yeah. They had who's the Bengals coaching staff? Zach Taylor. Yeah, Zach Taylor was at the 2020 Senior Bowl coaching against Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia bested Justin Herbert at that 2020 Senior Bowl, Joey. And he still won Senior Bowl MVP as the best overall player in the game. And Spencer Rattler, this year's Senior Bowl MVP. I'm not really surprised by that, but at the same time, it's like, and there you have Sebastian the Hurricane partying with but yeah, next week we'll have the Super Bowl. Lisa's in first, I'm in fifth in the country, Curb's 13th, Tanya and Brian are tied for fourth, Bandel's fifth, Wes is sixth, Wes is seventh actually, thanks to Banel being ahead of him. Jesse Lucas is eighth on the site, Tracy's ninth, Oren's at 163, and Joey's at 162. So if he picks the opposite team as Oren to win the Super Bowl next week, he could theoretically tie Oren for last, and it wouldn't be as diminishing as finishing in last outright. So, but yeah, that's going to do it for our Senior Bowl coverage. We'll be back next week for Super Bowl 58 coverage. And then after that, we'll recap the Super Bowl the following Saturday. 3 Saturdays from now, we will have a movie utopia episode where we recap the best movies in 1994, 30 years later. Forrest Gump, Shawshank Redemption, Lion King, and Pulp Fiction. And then Combine. So those are the next 4 or 5 episodes of Draft Utopia coming up. But that's Joseph Potter on TalkShoe. I'm Chris Ransom. We're signing off. Enjoy the rest of your